Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SHD Plus. In today's video, we're going to go through a breakdown and all my reasons as to why I believe Walsall FC will be in a relegation battle in its upcoming 2025-26 League 2 campaign. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 80 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Now, as you can see, I am a Bradford City fan, but I don't want this video to come across as biased because of obviously how last season went and we picked Walsall to that final automatic promotion spot on the final day of the campaign. But there is genuine reasons, and I want you to listen to my reasons rather than just going straight to the comments and saying that I'm salty and all that sort of stuff, even though it wouldn't really make sense as I'm obviously supporting a League 1 club and you're supporting a League 2 club. But general, wider League 2 and football fans, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Sit back and listen to my thoughts before you just give me abuse in the comments. Now, obviously, the best place to start is with last season and how good Walsall were in the first half of the campaign. As you can see, they only lost 3 games up until the middle of January. They were like 12 points clear of anybody at the top of the table. They were about 20 points ahead of Bradford City. And out of those 3 losses, 2 of them came in the first 5 game weeks. After that, they were steamrolling absolutely everybody. Yes, they had the odd anomaly, losing 6-2 at home at 2 Fleetwood, but they were absolutely outstanding. Then they visited Valley Parade on the 25th of January. We absolutely steamrolled them. We beat them 3-0. We were outstanding. They were awful. And then after that, they just could not recover their form. They got back-to-back wins at home to Chesterfield, who were awful at that point, and away at Morecambe, who were obviously one of the worst teams you've ever seen in League 2. Their only other win, apart from that, was obviously on the final day of the season against Crewe. At that point, they thought they were going up, and obviously we had the moment of Anthony Sarsvik 90+6, and it was absolute chaos at Valley Parade. But away from that, you look at the form and the number of defeats, the number of draws in there. Walsall were awful for 4 or 5 months, and there's a number of players in last season's playing squad who are coming into this season who are going to have to try and bounce back. And obviously going into the playoffs, they had a decent bit of form. They beat Chesterfield over both legs, and Chesterfield were one of the favourites going into the playoffs, and obviously they ended up losing in the final to Wimbledon. But I think having had that mental torture for 4 or 5 months to then think you're going to do it and actually stumble over the line against Crewe, to then get knocked down again when Bradford scored in the last minute, to then go again in the playoffs and beat Chesterfield over both legs and get knocked down again one last time in the final. They've been through so much mentally, and I feel like it'll either make or break you as a squad, and I feel like it is going to personally break this Walsall squad. There's so much discontent as well between Walsall and the manager, obviously the fans and the manager in Matt Sadler. Pretty much every Walsall fan wanted him sacked for about the final 10 games of the season. Obviously, they had a decent bit of a run with beating Crewe in the 2 matches against Chesterfield, and then obviously when they lost to Wimbledon, it was all over social media again saying that their fans want Matt Sadler to be sacked. And obviously, I think with them carrying last season's form into this campaign, their squad as well, which we'll come on to in a moment, is weaker for me. I only see them going in one direction. It's continuing this form, in my opinion. If you go through the Walsall squad, there's such a lack of quality in there. You've got somebody like Harry Williams, whose contract has technically expired, but he's going to miss pretty much all of next season with, I think it's an Achilles rupture, something like that, which is obviously gutting for him because he was one of their best players last campaign. But you look at some of the other options in the defence. They've brought in 36-year-old Aidan Flint. His legs went a year or 2 ago, was excellent for Mansfield when they got promoted. Last season was absolutely diabolical. I know it's in League 1. I know he's going to play in the middle of the back 3. Yes, he brings experience, but I'm not overly convinced by that signing, in all honesty. You look at the midfield options and the creativity in there. Jamie Jellis was awful post-January, and again, he's another player whose contract has apparently already expired. Maybe they've got an option of a further season. Going forward, their striker options, Josh Gordon, Jamil Matt, Levi Amanchi. There's no quality in there whatsoever. Aaron Presley might get you 8 goals. Might, at the absolute maximum. Johnny Stuttle is another unproven loan. We've seen Walsall have done well with their loan strikers over the last couple of seasons, but then they've all been recalled in January. Danny Johnson, Freddie Draper, Nathan Lowe. Is the same going to happen with Johnny Stuttle? I just don't see enough quality in this side. I look at the majority of their signings coming from the National League North, coming from the National League South. That's a big step up to then come into League 2, into a side which have obviously come off the back of an absolutely awful end to last campaign. I just don't see enough in this squad. I look at the experienced players in this side. Jamil Matt, legs have gone. Albert Adoma can give you 20 minutes off the bench, but for the large part, legs have gone. Aidan Flint, legs have gone. Brandon Comley massively lacks the quality, and then pretty much everybody else is a youngster in this team who are going to have to come into this Walsall dressing room and try and go again and kick on from last season. But that's not going to be easy to do, because a lot of these players are also finding their feet in the EFL for the first time around. Combating all of that with last season's form, with the discontent between the manager, with the actual quality of a manager that Matt Sadler is, because Walsall can't afford to sack him easily for like another 3 years or something crazy like that, because for some reason Walsall decided to give him an insanely long contract after 3 months of good work. It just doesn't make sense to me, some of the decisions that are being made. There's a significant lack of quality in this side. I think Connor Barrett's a decent player on his day. I think Jamie Jellis can be a decent player on his day. Aaron Presley might be a decent player, but that's 3 players. You know, you need a 20-man squad to be half decent. League 2, you need to be a hard working side. I think there's a fair few players in here who can be a little bit lazy at times as well. I just don't see Walsall having any type of success for next campaign whatsoever. Their backup goalkeeper last year in Sam Hornby is now probably going to be their starting goalkeeper this season. That's the sort of standards we're looking at Walsall FC this year. When you have a look at the players who've left the club as well, Taylor Allen is such a significant blow. He's obviously gone to Wickham. I think they got around £500,000 in for him, which is great in terms of a transfer fee coming in, but it's clearly not already been spent on the squad. And with the season starting in around 10 days or so, how are Walsall going to go about in reinvesting that money into the squad on a centre-half who got around 20 goal contributions last season? David Akagbou, they've got, again, another 6-figure fee in for him. I wasn't a big fan of Akagbou, but they've not really replaced him with any better, in my opinion. Oshin McKenty, again, not a particularly outstanding player, but have they really improved on him? Ryan Sturck was one of their best players last season. He's made a step over to a fellow League 2 side in Chesterfield. Liam Gordon, brilliant in the first half of the season. Second half of the campaign was absolutely awful. Again, though, he's got to step up into League 1, and I wouldn't say Walsall have really replaced him with much better. You look at their incomings and the clubs that a lot of these players are coming from. Mason Hancock coming in from, I think, is that Scotland's 3rd division, potentially. You got Vincent Harper, who's coming from Exeter 2, didn't really play too much. Aidan Flint obviously was heavily criticised by the Mansfield fans at last campaign. Courtney Clark coming in from Eastbourne. Aaron Presley coming in from Stevenage, who obviously got a couple of goals at Barrow last season. Harrison Burke coming in from Chester. Then you've got a couple of players who've come in on loan as well. They needed much more in terms of incoming. They needed to get some real proven League 2 quality in there this season if they wanted to have any chance of competing. I just don't rate many, if any, of these signings. They've lost some real significant players. They've got a poor manager. They're coming off the back of an awful season. For me personally, I see Walsall FC in a relegation battle next campaign.